I'm going to show you how to use marzipan and royal icing on this lovely round Christmas fruit cake and how to achieve a peaked snowy effect. In order to create a cushion between the royal icing and the fruit cake, we need a layer of marzipan. So the first thing is to put my apricot jam straight over the cake. So what I've got here is some apricot jam that I boiled together with just a splash of water, and then I brought it up to the boil and then I strained it through a sieve. We're now ready to start to roll out our marzipan. Now, to begin with, you just want a light dusting of ice and sugar on your hands and on the surface, and we want to knead our marzipan. Main reason is to get it nice and smooth so that it doesn't crack once we start to cover our cake. So you want to knead it for approximately 30 seconds and you'll feel the consistency becoming much smoother. You want to start with a round shape and stand parallel to your marzipan and just roll back and forth a couple of times and then rotate your marzipan. The thickness that we're going for is approximately 3 to 4 millimeters. You can feel which is a lot thinner or thicker, and then you can adjust it accordingly. So now I'm ready to place this over my fruit cake. Roll your marzipan over the rolling pin really gently and then lift it up from the sides. And then we just want to make sure that our marzipan sits nice and flat and there's no major folds. Using this part of your hand, just seal it to the board. This is what we call skirting. You're pulling the marzipan really gently and then pushing down with your finger. And the warmth of your hands will help to seal it to the jam and to the cake and to make it really nice and smooth and flat. Just trim the edges off. And then I like to use what we call a scraper just to make it nice and flat. If you don't have one of these, then just use your hands. Make sure you've got a little bit of ice and sugar on your hands so that it doesn't stick. When you're using royal icing, the best thing to do is to leave your marzipan to dry out for approximately 2 to 3 days, if you have the time, that is, and then it's ready to be royal iced. Once the marzipan is fully dried out, I'm now ready to show you how to make the royal icing. Sieve approximately half of the royal icing sugar. You want to make sure that you do sieve it to get rid of any lumps. We're looking for a snowy, peaky effect on our cake. I'm ready to add 2 tablespoons of water. I'm just going to stir this together. So once you get to this stage, we can start to use the machine. The machine, it will take up to 5 minutes, but by hand it would take about 10 minutes. We're still only using half of it, so I'm going to beat it for about 1 minute. A really brilliant white colour, and at the moment we've got quite a thick consistency. So I'm ready to add the rest of my sugar and water. Exactly the same process. The reason that we're doing it in 2 stages is just to aerate it really nicely, make sure it ends up being really smooth, and it's just a bit easier to work with in 2 stages as well. 2 more tablespoons of the water, begin to mix it. And what I would say, whenever you're making royal icing at home, you need to work with it immediately. If you don't, it does start to get very firm very quickly. I'm ready to start beating my royal icing together now. We'll see if I need to add any more water. It is looking quite thick, so I might have to. Approximately half a tablespoon. It's always best to add your water gradually, and that way you can control it. Start to beat that together really slowly. Altogether, the consistency has completely changed now. So I'm going to keep that beating for approximately 5 minutes on a medium to high speed to get it really nice and thick and much paler in colour and really aerated. That's what we're looking for. So once we've reached the right consistency, as you can see, it's falling really nicely. I'm now ready to start to make my snowy peaks on the fruit cake. Just using a palette knife, we're going to begin to spread our royal icing sugar on top. You do need to work quite fast. It will get crusty quite quickly. So the quicker you work with it, the better. If you've never used a palette knife before, I suggest that you put 3 fingers at the end and just go really gently. And that helps you to get an even finish. Once you've got the top done, you're then just going to go around the sides, and do put extra royal icing on at this stage. You can always take it off after. Just go back over it and make sure there's no marzipan exposed. Once you're ready, you just want to grab yourself some hot water. And this is going to be used to dip our palette knife into. Now ideally, with all of this that's left over, just really roughly dot it around. Push down really firmly to create soft peaks. because if your icing is a bit thick, it's very difficult to do these peaks, and that's when you might need the hot water. So really push down and then lift quite high up, and you get that lovely snowy peaked effect. What I like to do is to either use a palette knife or any sort of scraper like this with a straight edge, dip it into the hot water, pat it dry just so that it's nice and warm, and it helps to get a smoother finish. Try not to take too much of the icing off, keep looking back at your work. Once you're happy with it, you can put some ribbon around the cake board and even around the cake. You can put some holly, or you can put any decorations that you have at home that will look good on the top of your cake. So that's it, an easy step-by-step instruction on how to royal ice your Christmas fruit cake.